Resonancia. I love jazz music and I love the art of creation. And I thought this was a really lovely piece. What a great way to catalog and to, I guess, memorialize an experience like this and an art project like this. It's wonderful to get to see from the beginning some of the subjects and where they come from, and then get to watch throughout as they're discovering these pieces. I would have loved to do that as a kid and get that inspiration from such a great in the art. And yeah, getting to see it from the seats to the inspiration to the final concert. That felt like a really lovely full circle journey. And the subjects they chose just were really thoughtful and bright and interesting. I also appreciated from the people creating the program the thoughtfulness from there and understanding, yeah, when a program comes from the States, there's a complexity, but it seemed like a really mutually beneficial and lovely, not experiment, but project that came to fruition. And I feel like I really got to be on the journey, and it inspired me as an arts educator how I could better facilitate those kind of moments for students.
I really, really, really enjoyed this. I thought this was so interesting. What an incredible opportunity, first of all, to be able to study and have this kind of, week-long or 5-day-long intensive with this, amazing musician who has all this experience. So what a great opportunity for these kids to not only be exposed to other kids that are, kind of all maybe not playing the same instrument, but coming from the same sort of background with like being so heavily involved with music and having such drive and passion about making music and things like that. But I also loved that they chose to use paintings to inspire the compositions, which I thought was so fascinating and so beautiful, and another way to blend two like forms of artistry together. I'd never really seen anything like that before, and I thought that was really like interesting and intriguing, and such a beautiful way to, like I said, kind of bring in another form of art into it as well. The thing I think I took away most from this is the difference in confidence levels and their idea of what they could do and accomplish from when they started to where they ended. And a lot of them started being pretty nervous, not really knowing what to expect, never, having composed before, not really knowing if they could or what that would look like. And to go from that to the end when they're performing and they've, performing with this like mix of peers and like professional artists and things like that, and like this band that they'd brought in, and the confidence and comfort level that seemingly kind of skyrocketed just over the course of this experience, I thought was so interesting and so fantastic to see, and really showing people that you can accomplish things that you may not think you can if you have the right tools at your disposal, if you have a little bit of guidance, if you have a little bit of a starting place, really, but you can push yourself further than you think you can. And for these kids to be able to, like I said, get this experience in general, but also to be able to kind of absorb that kind of lesson of you can push yourself farther, you can accomplish more than you think you can. Sometimes it takes help, sometimes it takes guidance, sometimes it takes, saying I don't understand or I don't know, and, getting, turning to people that, would have answers, sure, but being able to learn that kind of lesson, I think, is so powerful, especially for kids.
I love the concept of this. It the whole piece was just filled with such inspiration for composing an art. The idea of taking an art piece, a classic art piece, and composing music around it, whether it's from one instrument or several instruments, is so innovative. And for these inspire for these aspiring composers to work with Ted Nash, someone that they look up to, sounds like it was a dream come true. And he wasn't discriminatory towards age. He allowed children and adults to work together. He just wanted people who were genuinely passionate about the craft, which I found completely amazing. Because I don't think a lot of people would do that. I think a lot of people would have excluded children out of that situation, especially out of that scenario, because a lot of people don't really want to work with children, especially young musicians that want to compose. I found that just really inspiring that he worked with them to compose these beautiful pieces. And then the film actually included snippets of their pieces so we could actually hear what they were working on through the film come together in the end. It was really beautiful.